Hello everyone, I hope you're all okay. It is an absolutely gorgeous sunny day today. We have got blue skies and sunshine. Got the big man with me. He's going to be strimming around the plot, so we've got a lot of growth all around the plot. So he's going to be taking the strimmer to that just to give it a bit of a tidy, and I'm going to be doing a few jobs that really need doing. So I'm going to be taking this netting off of the garlic, so I'm going to need to cut this because I left it too long, and I'm going to be feeding the garlic. I'm going to be earthing up the first earlies and having a weed in that bed. I've got some strawberries that I got for half price for 6 strawberries. I'm going to be planting into the asparagus bed. My asparagus spears are just starting to come out, so I planted these last year, and somewhere I just found one. You can see that asparagus there, so they're just starting to come up. So I'm going to leave them to grow this year because this will be the first year of them in the ground, and I'm going to plant some strawberries in between them. So I think I'll probably just plant them at either end, maybe. I'm not sure yet, have a think about that. I've got some courgettes here, which are a really good size, and my greenhouse is absolutely bursting at the seams. So I'm going to be planting them in this bed over here. And then I've also got a few tomatoes. These are some of my smaller varieties that only grow about ½ metre. As I said, because I need space in my greenhouse, because it is absolutely overflowing like anything. The greenhouse is just packed. I'm going to be putting them into the polytunnel, so they're going to be going in here. What I'm going to try and do, I'm going to get Vince to strim this bit here. I mean, look how beautiful that is, that wildflower. Don't know what that is, but that is absolutely gorgeous, so pretty. I'm going to get Vince to strim this down. I'll use some of the cardboard we've got dotted around just to put over this side. Then I'm going to use my compost that I made. I'm going to mix that up with some of the homemade compost that I brought in and get my tomatoes planted in there, some of my tomatoes. So the plot just needs a really good weed and a really good tidy up, and that's what we're going to do this morning. I've got 6 strawberry plants here. I'm just going to plant them. So I know I've definitely got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think I'll try and do them like maybe 1 at each end, and then maybe 4 in between where I know the crowns are coming up, where I know the spears are coming up. So I have dug down a bit here, and the spears are coming up here as well. So I don't want to disturb the roots of them at all. Okay, so that's the strawberries planted. So I've got 1 at either end, and then 4 in between where the other spears should be coming up. And I have to say, I used coconut coir mulch on these beds, on this asparagus bed, and there's only a few weeds that I've had to pull out of this, so it actually does really work well for suppressing weeds. Okay, so next bed that I'm going to get done, I'm going to plant the courgettes that I started, so they're really big size now. I'm going to plant them in this corner right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to weed this bed. There's only a few weeds in there actually, and then I'm going to plant them. I've got 5, so I'll plant them probably maybe like diagonally to get 5 of them in. But they do grow quite big, and they're quite hungry feeders, so I'm thinking this bed will be a good place for them. In between it, I'm going to put some herbs in as well. Probably going to put some dill and some other bits and pieces, depending. I'm going to get the courgettes in first. Okay, so while I'm doing that, Vince, so he's just flattened down everything that was growing there with the cardboard, so he's completely lined that now, And then all he's doing is getting the compost. So the compost that's in this bin here, and just putting that at the base. So this is going to be at the bottom of the mini polytunnel, and then I've got some more compost from home that's a bit finer that I'm going to put on top, and then I'm going to plant my tomatoes into that. Okay, that's all weeded and nice and clear. This bed, I put in this bed a layer of manure last year when it got delivered to the plot. So although it hasn't got any compost on it, there is manure in this bed that would have rotted down a bit, and I have got some homemade compost from home that I'm going to be planting in the hole with the courgettes with some fish blood and bone. So I think they're going to do really well in this corner. Okay, so that's the courgettes placed down there, and I think that's the best way to get all 5 of them in. So they're sort of at a diagonal. Okay, so I've got a little bit of compost, homemade compost, that I'm just going to be putting in that hole. And then really healthy roots there. Really pleased with that. Pop that in. Fish blood and bone. Give it a good start. Really happy with that. Okay, so there's my courgettes planted. So excited about this. Things are starting to actually get in the ground. It's really, really exciting. It felt like the weather just wasn't going to change at one point. We were just going to have rain and wind forever, but it's absolutely gorgeous today. Okay, so Vince has been filling this with compost. This is the compost I made last year. I can't believe it. This is what I made last year. I mean, look at that. That is absolutely fantastic. My tomatoes hopefully are going to love it in here. And then this side, I've got chilies and peppers to put in here, but I'm not quite ready to plant them out. I'm going to plant some marigolds in here as well. I think Vince is just getting the last bit out of here. Look at this, my foxgloves are actually starting to come out. How amazing is that? Can't wait to see them. Pollinators are going to like that on that corner. Also, I'm looking for ideas of what to do in this little corner here. So just underneath this wheelbarrow where the chair is, there's just a space where I haven't got anything. So it's right at the back of the plot. Get sun next to the compost. What should I put in this area? Okay, so as Vince has just got that ready, I think I'm going to plant the tomatoes next. Okay, so the tomatoes I'm going to be planting out today. None of these tomatoes get more than a metre tall. So Saint Pierre, I've got 3 Saint Pierre, and I've got, what else have I got? I've got 2 Romas, I've got 2 Balkan Zorbas, and I've got 1 tiny Tim. I've got a couple of tiny Tims at home I'm going to keep in pots on the patio, which is why I've only got 1 to plant down here. And I had so many because I planted so many. These are sort of the smaller ones. The other ones in my greenhouse are absolutely huge, but they're going to be going in the polytunnel. Saint Pierre and Tiny Tim, they're the smallest ones. So Saint Pierre only gets about ½ a metre, Tiny Tim's like 0.3 metres, so they're the smallest ones. And then the Roma and the Balkan Zorba, they get about 1 metre. So I'm going to put the Romas and the Balkan Zorbas at the back. So I'm going to do a row at the back, and then I'm going to do the Tiny Tim and the Saint Pierre at the front. So I'm just going to have 2 rows of 4 in that half of the mini polytunnel. There's actually a bit more room than I thought. So what I've got 3 at the back, 3 in the middle, 2 at the front, and then I've got room for another one here if I do need to move another one from the greenhouse. And just look what was hiding at the bottom of my pot. And this is what happens, you see. They just have these little hiding places, and before you know it, there's hundreds of them. I can actually see here a nice big slug making its way for a hiding place so it can come out tonight and feast on all of the new plantings. So we'll have to get rid of that one. So I'm just so pleased with the roots on all of these tomatoes. Really healthy, growing really well. Okay, so there you go, tomatoes now planted in the mini polytunnel. So I don't know about anyone else, but like I say, my greenhouse is absolutely overrun. It is packed, I can't fit anything else in there, so I'm trying to bit by bit get things planted out so that I can put up new things, start other things. But yeah, I'm pleased I've managed to get that done. So next thing, garlic. So I'm gonna just cut a few of the squares of the netting so I can still use the netting, and then I'm gonna take that off, weed where I need to inside the beds, and then feed it with fish blood and bone, and then give it a good water. So that's the netting off. So now I'm just going to give it a good weed, give it a feed and a water. Okay, all weeded. So I'm just going to rough up around the garlic a little bit of fish blood and bone. And I'm just going to do that around each of them and give it a good water when I water the plot before we leave. Okay, so all my garlic now has been weeded, the net's been taken off, so it's all weeded, all fed. Now I just need to water it. I'm going to do that before I leave. So last thing I really wanted to do was earth up the potatoes for my first earlies. So they're looking absolutely huge at the moment, so I just want to earth them up slightly around them. And then the last thing I want to do, Vince is just doing some wood chip runs now. The last thing that I really want to do is just have a real good tidy up, because there's just planks of wood everywhere where I've been, you know, like using it for netting and using it for different things. We've got netting everywhere, we've got so much everywhere, so I'm gonna have a good tidy up. A lot of the grass has now been trimmed. Vince has done that, so that's really good. But yeah, loads more to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I have earthed them up, but what I'm going to do is next time I come up, I'm going to bring some compost from home and just add that around there as well, because there's not a lot in this raised bed. There's not a lot of soil in this bed, so that's my plan for next time. But now I'm going to have a little bit of a tidy up and just pile up all of these planks of wood and bricks and things at the back of the plot. Okay, so this chair and this bench, we actually found someone was throwing it away. It was in a skip last year, and we've been using them on the plot, but they have actually had it now. They are completely broken, they're completely rotted. So Vince is just going to break them down now, and we're going to get rid of them because they're just getting in the way now, because we can't actually sit on them because they're so broken. Okay, so I actually bought some of these sun catchers from the pound shop. So I only invested £1 in them, and I'm going to put them on the trees, one because they look nice, and two, they might deter some of the pigeons, who knows, but they'll look nice anyway. I mean, that actually looks really nice in the sun anyway. Okay, so two of them didn't actually have any elastic at the top of them, but the other two I've got up here. And I'll put 2 up in this tree, 1 here and 1 here. So when I've got some string down here next time, I'll put those ones up as well. Okay, Vince has just been round and filled up the wood chip, so he's done it round the wildlife area, so that's really looking good now. Around the rhubarb area, just where the weeds are really getting up. So we'll bring down some more cardboard next time and do this area back here, because this area is really wild. But look at my comfrey, it's looking really good. Raw beans are looking good, the kids bits looking really good. So I've got my strawberries planted here along with my asparagus, which is just starting to show its face. I've earthed up my potatoes, my first earlies. I've taken the netting off the garlic, weeded it and fed it with fish blood and bone. Planted my courgettes. Vince has strimmed around the edge and he's done lots of manure runs and lots of wood chip runs. So we've now got, where we just took out the manure from last year for here, he's now filled that back up with fresh manure. And I've now got 8 tomatoes planted in my mini polytunnel. I'm so pleased with what we've managed to get done this morning. A morning really well spent. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.